I'm going to start with a spell shot. Cue the rolling eyes.
Oh my, yeah, okay. You played this already.
I played it and I played it wrong.
Oh, really?
And the best way to learn something is to teach someone else.
Okay.
And so I kind of started talking about the spell shot to you between episodes to try to understand it myself. So I'm just going to go down my list here of things I want to say about it. This is a mystical archetype. Mystical archetypes are archetypes that deal with spells. So whether it's like wizardly casting, sorcerer,
okay,
whatever.
Hold on. Let's get into terminology real quick because we're going to confuse some people.
Okay.
So as it exists now, Paizo has done a really shit job at, there are like 5 or 7 different kinds of archetypes in the game. And frankly, Paizo's done a pretty poor job explaining to the user how these archetypes are stratified, because they do exist in different categories, and different archetypes give you different levels of power. We're going to go into this in depth in later episodes.
That's a totally different video, which is coming up soon.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
So with that said, that term you used, the mystical archetype,
right.
That is an Archive of Nethes organizational.
Yeah. So Archive of Nethes is the tool that most of us use in Pathfinder 2nd Edition to find stuff.
It's the PRD. It's the Wikipedia page.
Yeah, all of these books, you can just click until you find stuff, and it's organized that way.
That's why Pathfinder's free.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's an organizational tool is what I mean by mystical. So let's just call it an archetype because that's what it is. It's not a class. It's not a multi-class. It's specifically,
just but what's important about it, that what makes it different than other archetypes is that it specifically modifies a class.
It specifically
the gunslinger.
Yes, because it's a class archetype, which is on the next line here.
Yes.
So first of all, this is in Guns and Gears, page 140 if you've got the book, or Archives of Nethes if you don't. The spell shot, it has tags that you're going to find throughout the feat options and ability options and different things you can do as you call yourself spell shot. So if you're looking to do things associated with gunslinger, evocation magic, conjuration magic, and teleportation and abjuration, these are things that the spell shot collects to its breast, so it can make manifest really cool things that it does. So some inspirations that I found for the spell shot. Remember the movie Wanted?
No.
Okay, it's the dumb one, but it's the one where you can curve a bullet.
Okay, yeah, that's cool.
It's cool from like a cinematic comic book kind of thing. That's kind of what this is. So I didn't buy it in that movie. Totally bought it in this archetype.
Okay.
Final Fantasy VIII, gun blades and basically guns that do magical things.
Okay, but that's also a different thing that the gunslinger has access to. The gunblade. That's a different archetype. They literally get a gun
that fires magical effects and triggers magical effects.
All right,
specifically.
We're combining 2 archetypes that actually exist in the game, though, which I think is hilarious.
Sure. So the spell shot is specifically somebody who shoots a gun.
Yeah.
And that does a magical effect.
Gotcha.
So Final Fantasy VIII is just chock-a-block full of that kind of crap. Devil May Cry. You got your Hellfire shotguns and shit like that.
Yeah.
So this is some of the inspiration I think about when I think of what is a spell shot in my imagination. You can conjure bullets from the air. You can create phase bullets that go through walls and hit your target. You can fire a bullet and teleport along the trajectory path.
I love that so much.
To reach the point of impact.
It's so cool.
You can change the energy damage to exploit weaknesses with your bullets. You can counterspell with your bullets. Like fire a bullet into a magical shield of some sort, and you can counter that. You can summon your gun. There are runes that do that. Well, now you can do that as an ability. So these spell shots aren't ordinary gunslingers. They come from a tradition of ancient secrets and principles, which they temper with modern innovation and perspective. Spell shots combine magical power into the art of gunplay to create a distinct and mystical way known only to spell shots, enigmatic and unavailable to other gunslingers in the world at large.
They're the druids of guns.
They're rarer than that. So this is a rare archetype, which means it's a little more powerful than
they
the others.
Speak Gunnic.
Yeah. Sure, they speak Gunnic. That is now headcanon.
Oh my god.
But if the gunslingers are uncommon and there aren't a lot of them out in the world, there are even fewer of these spell shots. And they're just sort of like single individuals who walk the world and do their magical way of the way of the spooky gun kind of stuff. I love it. I love the curve the bullet thing. I love the teleport after a bullet. It allows for certain stories to be told combining gunplay, and magic.
Absolutely.
And that's a cool little crossroads that I don't see represented in fantasy gaming in general.
So the
I want
archetype,
more of that.
the way I was looking for,
Mhm.
which is not to be confused with an archetype, a class archetype. It's a way, which is just
Gunslingers have various ways that give them access.
It's their
to,
subclass.
ability paths.
So they also in this book, Impossible Lands, they introduced Way of the Trigger brand.
I know nothing about that.
Really?
Yeah.
So Way of the Trigger brand is
This is going to be a 2-hour video.
yeah, this is gonna
Bunny
be rough.
trails galore.
I'm sorry, people. Way of the Trigger brand is basically they introduced gun blades. So literally like weapons, like swords with a gun attached to it.
Oh, sure. Yep.
Gunblade. So what you described when you
Mhm.
described the Final Fantasy VIII to me was like, oh, that's Way of the Trigger brand because
Sure.
they literally have a gunblade.
Yeah.
Or in Final Fantasy XIV, they have the Gunbreaker, I think, or something like that. It's one of the classes in Final Fantasy XIV, the MMORPG, that one of the tanks basically is just, dude with gun sword.
Mm-hmm.
Which is cool.
Which
It's
is
just-
cool. And then add a bunch of magic and teleportation effects and
Exactly.
conjuring and abjuration specifically. And you get more like a focus. These people aren't shooting fireballs. This isn't like evocation magic.
Yeah.
I think it's not. Conjuration, teleportation,
It's
abjuration.
definitely evocation.
Evocation. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of the options. But there are things it is not. It is not divination. It's not enchantment.
Yeah.
There are schools of magic where it's not. And that creates a delicious focus, which leaves room for another type of way of the magic gun using the things that are not listed here for later design space.
That's a good point.
So I just dig that. I feel like I can whet my palate and have things to come